All right, it is 6:01, so let's go ahead and get started. Again, welcome everyone. My first name is Sabrina, and I am a marketing representative for the Ohio Tuition Trust Authority. And we market and manage CollegeAdvantage, which is Ohio's 529 savings program. And also with us today, Judy Cunningham, and she is our Public Relations and Community Outreach Manager. So please feel free to, you can use the Q&A box to ask questions during the presentation, or you can wait till after. It's totally up to you. But we will go ahead and get started. And then Judy, if there's anything you would like to add, just hop right in and add anything I might have missed. So again, welcome. The Ohio Tuition Trust Authority, that is the name of our state agency, and we are a state agency under the Department of Higher Education. We are overseen by an 11-member board. We were recently rated by Morningstar. Our direct plan received the silver rating, and our advisor plan received the bronze rating. And with that being said, so there are two plans with CollegeAdvantage. There's the direct plan, which is what OTA, the Ohio Tuition Trust Authority, that's the one that we market and manage. And then there's the advisor plan. Both plans, the direct plan and the advisor plan, they're both CollegeAdvantage plans. But if you would rather get help specifically with investment options, then the advisor plan could be the better route for you. So the only difference with the advisor plan, you would seek out a licensed financial advisor, and then they could help you and assist you with picking out investment options and giving you all that investment advice. So what are the advantages of Ohio's 529 plan CollegeAdvantage? What makes us possibly a better alternative than other ways of saving for college? And it's really the tax benefits. With CollegeAdvantage, there are three main tax benefits. So your account grows tax-free, withdrawals are tax-free, and you can also deduct up to $4,000 from your state of Ohio tax deduction as well for your contributions. And then we'll go through each of those tax benefits in a little more depth in the next few slides. So your account grows tax-free. And then this graph gives you a better overview of the power of tax-free growth and how much of a difference it can make over time. So in the orange, you can see that's an example of a tax-free 529 savings. And then in the blue is an example of a traditional savings account. You can see here the difference over time that can really have a large impact on your savings and your savings goals. Our investment partners are Dimensional, Vanguard, and Fifth Third. And then we have a little bit over 20 different investment options, and our age-based options are the most popular. So when it gets time to start withdrawing funds to pay for those higher educational expenses, those withdrawals, as long as they're qualified higher, as long as those withdrawals are going towards qualified higher educational expenses, those withdrawals are tax-free. So what's a qualified higher educational expense? And then that would be any of these examples on the screen, so like room and board, tuition, of course, books, any mandatory fees, computers, required equipment for class. Those are all qualified higher educational expenses. And again, anything that's mandatory for class. So for example, if your student was, maybe they were a photography student and needed a specific camera for class, that camera is a qualified higher educational expense. With room and board, even if the student decided to live off campus, you can withdraw funds to pay for that off-campus housing. You just can't exceed what it would cost to live on campus. All right, so those are all qualified higher educational expenses, and you are not taxed on those withdrawals. When it does get time to make those withdrawals, you can request for withdrawal. Those withdrawals can be requested online at our website, or you can complete and return a withdrawal request form and send that to the Ohio Tuition Trust Authority. And then the last tax benefit, you can deduct up to $4,000 from your state of Ohio taxable income for your contributions. All right, and so with that, there is unlimited carry forward. So for example, if you have one account, so with your accounts, if you have one child, you'll have one account. If you have two children, then you'll have two separate accounts. So one beneficiary, you can have one beneficiary at each account. So with the unlimited carry forward, say for example, you have one account, one child, and you contributed $8,000 to that account this year. Next tax season, you can deduct up to $4,000 from your state of Ohio taxable income for your contributions. And then the following year, you could deduct the additional $4,000 from your state of Ohio taxable income. So that $4,000 is just the maximum that you can deduct from your state of Ohio taxable income. It's not a maximum of how much you can contribute to your account in a given year. All right, so there's unlimited carry forward. And then this is also per beneficiary. So if you were to have two accounts and you contributed $4,000 to each account this year, the next tax season, you could deduct up to $8,000 from your state of Ohio taxable income. All right, so $4,000 per beneficiary. And so if you have three children, you contributed $4,000 to each account, then next tax season, you deduct up to $12,000 from your state of Ohio taxable income. And then again, this tax benefit is, of course, for Ohio residents. So where can you use your funds? You can use your funds anywhere nationwide where federal student aid is accepted. So if that school has a FAFSA code, then you can use these funds to pay for those educational expenses. So you have your two-year community colleges, your traditional four-year institutions and universities, graduate programs and beyond, vocational institutions. And then you can also, it was recently passed, that you can now use your funds for private K through 12 education. All right, and then with the private K through 12 education, there is a limit. You can only withdraw up to $10,000 per year to pay for those expenses. And then what about gifting? So with your account, you will get a unique UGift code. And with that code, it makes it really, just really fun because you can pass that UGift code out to friends and family, and then they can go on, use that UGift code to contribute directly to your account to help you grow and meet your personal savings goals. If you are gifting in larger amounts, you can save up to $15,000 annually, and that is per child before gift taxes apply. And then also, so with the state of Ohio tax deduction, so for example, say you are not the owner of the account. So I have a nephew named Shane, and my sister is the owner of the account. So if I contributed $500 to Shane's account this year, next tax season, I could deduct that $500 from my state of Ohio taxable income. So because I'm an Ohio resident and I contributed to his account, you do not have to be the owner of the account to get that tax benefit. You do, of course, have to always contribute to an existing account. And you can also open an account for anyone. They do not have to be related to you in any way. It could be a close friend, or it could be another family member that you would like to set up an account for, and they do not have to be related to you. A beneficiary could have several accounts opened up to them. So for example, I could set up an account for my nephew, my sister could, my parents could. Shane could have multiple accounts, which is, the ideal. It's a great situation. And then going back to the UGift code, another great idea is you can use that UGift code to send gift announcements. So for example, if you are expecting and you're sending out baby shower invites, then on that baby shower invite, you could also list your UGift code and then invite all of your attendees to contribute to your 529 account, and just that, or maybe in addition to a gift as well. So a lot of people, if you are expecting and you wanted to go ahead and set up that account before the child is born, you could set up the account and list yourself as the beneficiary. And then once the child is born, you can change the beneficiary once you have that Social Security number to the child. So a very common question, what if my child doesn't attend college? So you have several options here. So the first option is there's no shelf life on the account. So for example, when the child turns 18 years of age, you do not have to start withdrawing funds at that time. If they decide to take a gap year, a couple years off, that's perfectly fine. You can leave the funds in there, continue to contribute to the account if you'd like to. If you have another child, you can transfer all or part of the funds to another family member. So if you have a younger child and say the older child didn't use any of theirs, or maybe they have some left over in the account, you can transfer those funds to the other child. As long as those beneficiaries on those accounts are related by blood, marriage, or adoption, then you can just transfer those funds. And then if you want to withdraw the money, and those withdrawals are not going towards those qualified higher educational expenses that we discussed earlier, there will be a 10% federal tax penalty on the earnings portion, but not on your principal. So you would get your principal back, but there is that 10% federal tax penalty on the earnings portion only. And those are for, that is just withdrawing funds and you're not using them for qualified higher educational expenses. And then what if your child were to receive a grant or scholarship? That's wonderful, as you know, money you would not have to pay back. But it's also very important to remember that financial aid packages rarely cover 100%. I read a recent article that stated that about less than 1% of scholarships cover everything. So most likely you're going to have to pay for books, room and board, meal plans. There's going to be something. So it's always a good idea, even if you think the child will get a scholarship, to continue to save. So if your child does receive a scholarship, so say that the child received a scholarship for $5,000, you can withdraw that $5,000 without facing that 10% federal tax penalty that we just discussed in the previous slide. However, the earnings portion will be taxed as income. And then that's the same scenario for attendance at a U.S. military academy. It's treated the same as a scholarship. So you can withdraw the amount of that scholarship, but then the earnings portion is taxed as income. Does a 529 plan affect eligibility for federal financial aid? And there are a couple different answers to this. So if the parent is the owner of the account, when the child fills out the FAFSA, so that's the free application for federal student aid, they will calculate the EFC, which is the expected family contribution. So with those calculations, they determine the financial aid that you will receive. And then when they're doing those calculations, they will look at 5.64% of the entire amount that's in your CollegeAdvantage account, And that's what they're going to look at. So 5.64% is what they're going to look at. So if you have, for example, $20,000 in your account, they're going to look at 5.64% of that. If someone other than the parent is the owner of the account, so say, for example, the grandparent is the owner of the account, it could have a different effect on financial aid possibly. So if the grandparent, for example, is the owner of the account, the first year the child fills out the FAFSA, they would not acknowledge the 529 plan when filling out those forms. All right, but then the following year, when filling out the FAFSA, they would have to list the entire amount that's in the account as an asset. So if there's $20,000 in the account, that $20,000 is listed as an asset. So if someone other than the parent is the owner of the account, it could possibly have a greater effect on financial aid. And then here are also some great resources of information. I do want to point out, so our website, which I will take you to here in just a few minutes, is collegeadvantage.com. Our customer care number is 1-800-AFFORD-IT, and they're in the office 8:30 p.m. or 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. And a few other great websites to check out, savingsforcollege.com and collegesavings.org. Definitely all of these websites are great, helpful websites to check out. And then next, I will take you to our website. All right, so here is our website, collegeadvantage.com. And then on this website, so there's lots of information, so definitely check it out. I do want to point out, so if you were interested in setting up an account, you would up here at the top right-hand corner, open an account, click there, and that will take you to the process to start an account. It will probably take you maybe 10 to 15 minutes to start the account. You do need to know the beneficiary's personal information like social security numbers, for example. And then that is also where you would pick your investment options. And then also I would like to point out up here is our offering statement. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So this is a very lengthy document. It's about 57 pages long. And this goes through everything in great depth. So if you have any questions after tonight, or if you're thinking of opening an account, I would definitely read through this. It will help you become even more familiar with CollegeAdvantage. And if you have any questions, because it goes through everything in great detail, it will probably answer a lot of your questions as well. For example, if you have questions about fees, those are located on, I believe it is page 43. Let's see, yeah, so here are the direct plan fees and expenses. So as you can see, they vary depending on investment options. So check this out, there is no enrollment fee and there is no annual fee. And then again, it just goes through everything else in great detail. So take some time, read through that. Again, that is just on our website called Offering Statement. And then also there is a link here and it's called Tools. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And this takes you to some more tools